Hey friend, do you love the smell of books? Maybe you absolutely delight in the sound of a pen gliding across a page as you write. Hi, my name is Shira Rodriguez, and I am a Jesus follower, a writer, entrepreneur, and lover of all things boho and books. In this podcast, I want to take you on a journey of discovering yourself, discovering God and your passions, and how to make your life beautiful and so full that it overflows into the lives of others. And over here, we are not about compartmentalizing life. Oh no. Over here, we talk about holistically taking your life and presenting it as a place where others can be blessed just by knowing you. Are you excited? I am. So snag your favorite mug of tea or a pen and paper and let's jump in. Because you're listening to Her Reading Life podcast. Hello, lovely friends. What does your week look like? Mine has been fairly uneventful, thank God. Eventful weeks are a lot harder to deal with. I'm taking advantage of the fact that I don't have too much on my plate to set up some kind of a routine. You know, I thought creating a routine was going to be so easy when I first graduated. I've been particularly reminded of this because as I'm working on this, it's officially been a year since my high school graduation. And boy, did things not go the way I'd expected them. In hindsight, however, I'm realizing that life is a bit of a wild beast. It's never tame, never fully under your control so that you can actually say, look, I've caught him. If your life is tame, I congratulate you heartily on your catch. I honestly wish I knew how. But if you're at all like me, you've somehow realized that life isn't about taming. It's about learning and embracing. It's about understanding, not dominating. It's about loving, not envying and comparing. If I could go back to my younger self a year ago, one of the key things I would tell her would be to slow down. Yeah, I just said that. My old self was always desperate to do all the things and stressed that I wasn't doing enough or being enough or marketing enough. I wanted to be super successful, but I didn't really understand that success that's overnight is not worth having. I thought that if I could run faster, I could get to where I wanted to go faster. The problem is, life is not about who gets there first, but who gets there at all. My grandmother is so wise, and as I stayed with her several times over the past year, she'd look at me as she rocked in her big armchair in her quiet, cozy house with the garden out back, and the hum of the TV playing some old Mexican shows from the 50s, and, she'd say in Spanish, take it one step at a time. If you're meant to get there, you'll get there. But it's no use stressing about it. Take it a day at a time. A little here, a little there, and one day you'll wake up with the opportunity right in front of you. At first, I would argue with her, respectfully, of course, but I'd insist that there was so much to do, and I was so afraid I'd miss out on something if I didn't do it all. However, little by little, the condition with my eyes forced me to rethink this. I've started realizing that maybe missing out wasn't so devastating after all. Maybe saying no to this one thing actually gave me more peace of mind. Maybe postponing an event wouldn't kill me. And maybe, just maybe, I didn't have to move heaven and earth in order to please people. And maybe leaving it to God was the best and most straightforward way after all. So friends, let this be your gentle reminder for today that less is more. You don't have to do all the things to prove your worth. You don't have to try to be everything for everyone. And just to make things a little bit more practical, here are some of my favorite 3 ways to be more productive with less. Number 1, set max hours for yourself. I used to feel so guilty for taking a break and allowing myself to enjoy time with family or watch a film or do watercolor. And yet, I've found that setting maximum work hours helps immensely in keeping you sane and productive. See, there's this little thing called the 80-20 rule that scientists discovered a long time ago and still continues to be proven right. This theory states that 80% of your most productive work is produced by 20% of your time. It'll get pretty old if you listen to enough business and productivity podcasts. But the point is that many times we think that to get from point A to point B, we just need to work harder, not realizing that our body has a working time limit. And after a certain point, we're just wearing ourselves down and out. So something I did to help myself out of my obsessive working schedule was to calculate how much time I really needed for my writing, promoting, podcast creating, and freelance jobs. And I can tell you, I have been so much less stressed by setting these time limits. So sit down with yourself, or walk around your neighborhood tennis court and talk it out like I did, and figure out how much time you realistically need to accomplish everything. Often you'll find you need far less time than you thought, and will end up being so much more productive with less. Number 2, get your hands on something in the real world. This was also something that I found a big motivating factor in giving myself freedom to adopt a less is more mindset. When you give your mind an off-screen activity to look forward to, you're able to get less anxious about being bored if you have nothing to do. That was always my concern anyway. So for Christmas, I purchased a gorgeous watercolor set that my amazing tia, aunt in Spanish, recommended. I'll link it below so you can check it out for yourself. I've loved it so much. I have absolutely loved working with this beautiful set and giving myself something to work on that has nothing to do with work. Painting, drawing, dancing, and even photography are spectacular ways to get yourself off the computer and giving yourself motivation to engage in other activities. I've also loved doing journaling/scrapbooking, where I'll take old copies of books that I don't intend to read and cut out some of my favorite passages and paste them into notebooks and decorate them with watercolor illustrations. I love lighting a cozy candle and setting some peaceful classical or jazz music while I work. These are some of my happiest moments, friends, because I can give myself space to just live, as Pollyanna Whittier puts it. Just enjoy life. There is something so beautiful and unique about doing something for the love of a thing that we often lose in our workaholic society. So don't be afraid to take a break and just enjoy sometimes. Take the evening off and laugh with your siblings or play a board game. Make that perfect cappuccino you've been dying to try. Steal some moments under the setting sun. Don't forget the whole point of living. Number 3, let go and let God. I don't know about you, but for me, much of my more is more mindset went back to an emotional attachment to work. I felt like if I didn't work, I would somehow become less than or insignificant or forgettable. And that is such a lie. You are not your work. You are not your work. You are beautiful and have meaning and value regardless of how hard you work for it. Period. We can't earn our identity or our sense of worth. It took me so long to learn this, and even now I'm still learning it's about grace, not elbow grease. It's about what Christ has already done for me that makes me enough. And what I do or don't do can't confine God or keep him from accomplishing his purposes in me. So yes, I work diligently, but never slavishly. Friend, enjoy the life he gave you. And find your worth in him, not in the stuff. Don't waste your life working just to build your own kingdom and exhausting yourself when you could be working with him to build his. I learned this so well when going through vision therapy, where I literally had to ask God to give my eyes the strength to do everything I needed to do. And he came through every single time. Something I've incorporated into my life is a constant habit of prayer. Pray when you wake up. Pray when you need help. Pray when you don't know what to do. Pray. Because you will accomplish so much more through prayer than worry. Ask God to give you the answers you need to change your perspective. He is so faithful, and He will answer you, my dear. Hey friend, I hope you're enjoying this episode. Are you getting ready for fall yet? I'm afraid I prematurely decked out my office with pumpkin candles, fallish blankets, and autumny pillows 2 weeks ago. And if you listened to last week's episode, you may remember I mentioned taking a seasonal break to rest and get ready for the new season coming. Well, next week I will be taking a break from podcasting and Instagram. However, this doesn't mean I'll be disconnected. If you'd like to stay tuned and maybe even take a summer's end break challenge with me, subscribe to my newsletter by heading over to your favorite browser and typing in bio.site/Shira J. Rodriguez. That's bio.site/Shira J. Rodriguez. I'll be sharing some delightful fallish poetry, some thoughts on the end of summer, and some inspirational motivation for your week. But here's the part I'm most excited about. I'll be hosting a Summer's End online party this Tuesday, September 5th at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. We'll play games, share our favorite summer memories, revel in our dreams for the next season, and of course, talk all things reading, books, and writing. I'm so excited to see you there, friend. To join, head over to bio.site/Shira J. Rodriguez and join my lovely email list where you'll get all the info on how to join. We are going to have the loveliest time, and I'm so excited to see you there, friend. In addition to prayer, something that has been really powerful in my life, unsurprisingly, on this topic is books. And so, yes, I will recommend books because you didn't think you could go through this without book recommendations, did you? So here are some of my favorite books on productivity, business, and identity that I've found incredibly helpful in changing my mindset, and I hope that you enjoy them as much as I did. Now, the first one is Radiant by Priscilla Shirer. I honestly love this book so much, and I think I mentioned it in my episode with Sarah Barrett in season 1, and it has been such a powerful influence in my life because she goes to the root of identity. She starts from the very beginning and how identity really changes the way that we think of ourselves and the way that we act, and it affects really all of our life because we are what we think we are. If we think that we are children of God and that nothing can stop us, then nothing is going to keep you from persevering even through difficult times. But if you think you're a loser or if you are just afraid of everything, then that's going to reflect in so much of your life. And so this book has been so influential for me, and I keep coming back to it over and over and over again. My second book that I'm going to recommend is 10 Distinctions Between Millionaires and the Middle Class. And I really found this book really inspiring. Firstly, because it was the first business book that I had the opportunity to read, but also because this book opened my mind to think about time as a currency. So many times I've wasted time, but not realizing that it's the one currency that you can't get back. Money you can always get back, but time is something that will never come back. Once it's spent, it is spent. And it really helped me appreciate the fact that some of the most influential people in the world captured that idea and understood that. They understood that life isn't about working all day. It's about being able to experience freedom in your life in every area and enjoy the time that God has given you. That is what life is about. It's about being able to bring God glory through the joys and even through the difficulties, but to go through those difficulties with joy. So that's why I definitely recommend 10 Distinctions Between Millionaires and the Middle Class. My third book recommendation is Rich Dad, Poor Dad by Robert Kiyosaki. And I really enjoy this book because Robert Kiyosaki is so wise, and he gives these business principles as a story. He tells the story of when he was a boy in Hawaii and the lessons that his friend's dad, who eventually became one of the wealthiest people in Hawaii, taught him and trained him to think wisely about his time and about money and the relationship between the two. And it's just so inspiring to realize that you don't have to be a slave to your work. In fact, you're not supposed to be a slave to your work. And that some of the most successful people out there are not working for the money. They work because they enjoy it. They're not slaving about things. And that was just a beautiful, wonderful shift that happened for me when I started reading these books. And my last but not least book recommendation is It's Not About the Money by Bob Proctor. And in this book, Bob Proctor really dives into and explores the idea that success is not about making a ton of money. It's not about all the things you can buy. Being successful is being able to enjoy your life to the fullest and being able to give out to others and be able to enjoy life and have freedom and experience joy. Being able to experience all the beauty that this world has to offer. And there is one chapter on time management that has been invaluable to me. I listened to that chapter over and over again, and I highly, highly recommend it because it was so beautiful and really changed the way that I thought about time and time management. In fact, it's really funny because if I'm not mistaken, that chapter is called The Great Lie of Time Management, because so many times we're trying to manage our time, like see how much we can fit into a 24-hour period, when we don't realize that it's not really time management. We're supposed to prioritize, okay, what is important in my day, not fill it with a whole bunch of junk. We're not trying to fill our slots. We're trying to do the most meaningful things. And he really breaks it down very simply and teaches his readers how to wisely manage their time. So I highly recommend that book. So friends, these are my book recommendations for today. And I hope that this episode and the thoughts that I've shared with you have blessed you and encouraged you today and built you up just as much as they have me. If you have any questions or any thoughts, I would love to hear from you guys. I always enjoy getting your feedback, and it makes my day. Truly, it does, to be able to hear from you guys. Head over to my blog if you'd like to read the transcript of this episode. And until next time, friends, continue to live, give, and repeat. Yay! You did it! I'm giving you a lovely big virtual hug because you just finished another episode of Her Reading Life podcast. If you'd like to access all the wonderful links I mentioned in this episode, visit my website at bio.site/Shira J. Rodriguez. That's bio.site/Shira J. Rodriguez. There you can access my blog posts, resources, and so much more. Also, check out my Instagram page for more inspirational content. And join my email list for insider secrets and exclusive updates on special events. The links are in the description box below. Also, if you could take a minute and leave a review for this podcast, that would be amazing. We're able to reach so many more people because of your reviews and ratings. I can't wait to chat with you next time, friends. Keep living, giving, and repeating.